Hello footies, welcome along to Foot in Review. We are your number one independent EAFC podcast, bringing you 2 shows a week, including now in video as well. No matter where you listen to us on your podcasting world or where you watch us, thank you very much indeed for joining us. And if you want to go that little extra bit further, why not help support us via our Patreon page at patreon.com/Foot in Review for a range of benefits, including additional shows and videos, and of course our new loyalty program that will get you free merch. That is right, free merch. So head over to patreon.com/Foot in Review for all of that information. And right now you can sign up for a free 7-day trial at any of our selected tiers if you want to get a little sneak peek at what you could be enjoying long term. So thank you very much. On that note, I'd like to thank that little extra people that go the extra mile, the ones that go that skybox level mile. And thank you to our skybox holders, Paul, Amma, Artyom, Mario, Peter, and Simon. Thank you very much to all of you. In the meantime, let's get kicking off. Hello, footies. Welcome along. It is Foot in Review, powered by footcoaching.com. We are recording this on Monday, the 18th of September, 2023. EAFC24 launch week is here. My name is Dan Wimbush, and who better to join me for this first show of launch week than my main man, the man I drag into FIFA court more than anybody else. It is the scout, Nathan Downs. Nathan, hello.
Hello, Wimby. Thank you so much for having me on, and very excited to kind of go through this early look at the new EAFC24 with yourself. It's been a while since we've recorded together, so I've been getting the shakes. I've had to go to rehab and deal with my withdrawals. So now we're back. Now we're getting everyone on side. Let's crack off and hopefully have a very good year.
Look, you're lucky I'm still sitting in the same virtual room as you, because I listened to that show you did with Shack Attack on Friday when you were talking about abusing kickoff glitches. I spat my water out on my Peloton, just disgusted. I have to have a long shower just being on this podcast with you. But no, mate, it's great to be back with you.
No, it's good. I mean, that was a good one. So if you've not heard that, I'm going to plug our last one with Shaq. That was more, that kind of goes in line with this. So obviously we'll be discussing EAFC coming up. The one we did with Shaq on Friday, we looked at how you can prepare yourself for EAFC. So check out if you haven't already. Hopefully it's quite useful. And yeah, I'll make a horrible admission that I have used the kickoff glitch a couple of times.
We'll hand down a sentence later in FIFA court, maybe some point this year. But look, there's as I said, it is Monday as we record this. Now, we've had a little bit of a change of plans because actually after Nath and Shaq recorded their show on Friday, EA dropped all the pitch notes for EAFC24's Ultimate Team mode, which is, of course, the main mode that we focus on here on Foot in Review. So we wanted to do a bit of a deep dive into those because there is lots to get into. However, myself and Nath are also going to do a Goodbye FIFA 23 show. So there's a bit of an extra bonus show going to be coming your way this week. I'm not sure what the exact release schedule is going to be. I'll leave that to the big boss man, John. But needless to say, you will hear both. So don't worry, we've got you covered on both counts. So let's go into it, Nath. Let's get into these pitch notes. Out of everything you read, because there's lots to get through here, what was the one thing that made you sort of sit up and go, ooh, that's interesting?
Well, there's a few things. I mean, initially the early access came with this new promo. So when we heard there's a promo, I can't speak today, sorry. In my head, I was trying to figure out, is that going to massively disadvantage folk that haven't early access? Is it a big prize for those that have? It looks like these are going to be replacing the welcome backpack. So there isn't really, by the looks of it, your usual ones for playing the last little FIFA, maybe because it's a whole new game now, really, with being the EAFC. So it looks like it's going to be pretty much the same cards with a different design, but you get objectives and rewards for completing these objectives. So looks to me a little bit like what we've got now at the preseason packs in FIFA. You've got to do certain things, obviously with that, I think at the moment it's, score in 4 goals with a certain team or something, but this is obviously be using the new card. So I think that's quite interesting to see how good the rewards are. Obviously they're not going to tweak the players too much, but just this kind of, they're using that just for the early access. So it'd be quite interesting to see how that works.
Yeah, this Nike Mad Ready promo launching for in that opening week. A good thing is that the players that they're going to be releasing, yes, there'll be special versions of these players. I think so. Greenish card design, isn't it? However, they won't be boosted. So if you are not joining the promo, if you're not enjoying early access for whatever reason, if you've not paid for the Ultimate Edition or you don't want to pay for EA Play and get that 10 hours free, you're not going to be missing out because the only upgrades these players are going to have is on a cosmetic level. There'll just be a special card design. I think as part of the Ultimate Edition, you get one of them on loan. And as Nate said, you'll be able to use these players to complete certain objectives. And I think, Nate, that kind of leads into the talk about seasons, because it's very clear now that EA liked what happened in the second half of FIFA 23 with replacing swap tokens and swap objectives with this whole kind of seasons swaps. And I thought it was interesting as well. We've just talked about, you're going to have to use, your Nike Mad Ready player and your special founders kits to unlock certain objectives during that early access week. This leads me to think that we're going to see a lot more of this throughout the year, Nathan. This is going to be another way that EA are going to try and get people to spend coins and EA points, because it will be along the lines of, you can get this bonus objective done if you're wearing this special Champions League kit, which you could obtain for 50,000 coins or 500 EA points.
Yeah, I mean, I'll reserve judgment for that because obviously in FIFA Ultimate Team, we knew that was the way it's going. We were both quite fortunate to be in good positions in terms of coins, so it never actually bothered me that much. But if the way that it pans out this time, I don't like the idea that they're holding stuff behind a paywall, basically. But at the same time, I'm quite a fan of having swaps in terms of season's rewards. I think quite a lot of the season rewards in the past have been a bit rubbish, and even just now, like we see the end of FIFA, and the rewards are pretty naff. You just get a few packs and that's it. So I quite like the fact that icon swaps may have merged. The only other thing I'll point out is some of these rewards. We had like the certain cups. If that's skill-based matchmaking and makes it really sweaty, that'll be less enjoyable. However, we know that they're changing things all the time, so it could go back. It could be really good fun, or it could be, instead of only having 5 games a day, they might make it 50 games a day. So it's still kind of closed, but not quite. So there's potential. I like the fact that it's in the season rewards, but I do think it's potential in my eyes right now. I don't think it's going to be a fantastic thing straight away, but I can't say it's going to be a disaster either.
Yeah, I think that one of the things they've kind of pointed out is that they want to make things a lot more transparent. They point out the fact that the swaps campaigns are often quite confusing for newer players and even some experienced players in figuring out where tokens were, when they could cash them in by. So that in their ideas, it's a streamlining objective. And of course, we've seen in the last couple of season promos in FIFA 22, they've done a lot better at, putting that XP in brackets by certain objectives, and it's sort of a lot easier for you to find them out. But yeah, I mean, look, I don't want to get it wrong. I'm not saying that EA are going to go straight for your wallet straight from day one, but I don't think that they're going to abandon a concept that they've put in 23 that seems to have, we just look in our Discord, quite a few people picked up those kits, and I can imagine that will go through. But overall, yeah, the change to seasons and season rewards, I think, is nothing but a good thing. I think, the players you were getting in the old seasons were so out of date so quickly, and the packs and things. So I like that. And just going back as well, just very quickly before we move on to the early access, I should say as well, the companion app they've confirmed it's going to be released on Wednesday, the 20th of September. The web app on the 20th of September on the Wednesday. The next day, you will get the companion app released to your device. It's iOS, Android. And then the early access begins, Nath, on Friday at midnight. So that is 0001. So the very first thing Friday. If you were on a console, however, if you are on PC, you have to wait till 5 a.m. British Standard Time. So leaves me thinking, Nathan, you're going to be staying up till midnight Thursday, first thing Friday. I kind of already know the answer to this, but
Yeah, you do. I wish I could. Unfortunately, I am on a work trip. We've got a bit of a thing in Paris, so sounds glorious. Half of me in my head was like, I don't want to go because I don't want to miss launch, but career also comes first as well. So I'm away Wednesday. I'm back at sort of mid-afternoon on Friday. So I think I'm going to take my own laptop though, so I can either remote play or I can at least get advantage of the web app, and then maybe log into my PlayStation and make sure it's all downloaded in time for me getting home at least. How about you, Dan? Are you got any special plans on Thursday, Friday?
I think I'm going to have to stay up. Until the early hours. I mean, I'm getting old, Nath. I'm getting old, so it's hard for me to stay up past midnight for any occasion. But I'll do my best. I think I'll stay up and try and play for a couple of hours. Head to bed. Then on Friday, get the kids off to school, and then go at it harder from that point. But yeah, it's nice. Now, it's been unconfirmed. In years past, people have been taking mysterious trips to New Zealand, Nath, on release, because of course this does say local time. Now, in years past, people have gone, and this tended, I think, to only work on Xbox, if I remember correctly. People would just used to change their region to New Zealand, and boom, you would have access. What are they? Is it 11? I think it's 11, 12 hours earlier. So they would be getting logged on from Thursday afternoon ahead of that Friday release. Some people have said that EA have patched this for things like Madden. So it's unconfirmed. I'm very sure that we will see, we'll obviously find out on Thursday. But it is something to keep in mind that if you are extra desperate to get that head start, it is possible or has been possible in the past. And Nate, there's been as far as you may correct me here, I've never seen anybody punished or handed out any kind of, slap on the wrists either.
No, I think it would be hard to do that when your time zone's obviously set. So if you do that and just leave it in that time zone anyway. But yeah, you'll get on Xbox. So you lucky duckies on Xbox like yourself, Dan. You might be going on a wee holiday soon.
Yeah, thanks, Master Chief. I've never done it. Actually, and I think again I'm sort of busy on Thursday anyway, and of course I'm usually so consumed with the companion app and the web app by that point. One of the main reasons though to get early access is obviously you want to play the game earlier, but for those people who are loading on FIFA points, you have to have logged in on the console to get those FIFA points. So if you are very serious about your trading and wanting to get that extra leg up, that could be why you do make that trip. But again, look, I'm not going to sit here and say everybody please go and do this. I said to this point they've never punished anybody for it, but you never know. I think the safe thing is just to stay where you are and be patient. But it's nice that it is out at midnight as well. And you touched on it as well, Nath. There's a bit of confusion about welcome back packs. Those initial few gold packs that you used to get if you played the previous edition. They've said in the pitch notes that they have been replaced by your founder status rewards. Anybody that logs into the game by the 1st of November will get founder status. You get a range of cosmetic items that go along with that will link, as Nath mentioned, to certain objectives and things. However, when you go through the rewards, none of them mention any cards or gold packs and things like that. So some are saying that no, they've not been explicit enough. They're getting a bit confused. As part of these rewards, you will get some gold packs. And others have said, no, they're just not giving us any packs at all. And that'll have a major impact, won't it, Nathan, on those very early moments of you trying to complete complete objectives, and SBCs.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're not even usually fantastic packs, but at that time of the game, fantastic packs aren't really fantastic packs. It's just more and more to put into these, either your start squad or your fodder or whatever. And the way that EA have been going, it'd be untradeable anyway, so it's probably not like you could use it and get a decent pull and sell it. So it could be, it'll be a little bit disappointing, but at the same time they've moved away from FIFA. It's now FC24, although we'll probably refer to it as FIFA or FC or whatever. But you can see the way, to be honest. I'm not going to say I'll absolutely slander them for not giving us welcome back packs, because it's a whole blank slate now. So everything, all our preconceived notions of the past, I'm trying to put out my head. But I also love opening packs, so it's a bit disappointing if we've got a few packs left open.
Yeah, I mean, you talked about this with Shaq on the prep show that you released came out over the weekend. It does play such a major role in completing those very early SBCs, because you used to get, I think it was something like best part of 20, 30 gold players or so in those packs, and miscellaneous other players as well to complete those early foundation SBCs. And if you're logging in on Wednesday to that web app and you're not getting any of that, it's actually going to make it really difficult for you to do much of anything, because you won't really have the ability to earn coins because you can't actually play the game. And you can't buy FIFA points as it stands. And look, maybe they're going to change the mechanism this year. And EA points, you'll be able just to buy solely on the web app or the companion app. We don't know. They've not confirmed that. But otherwise, it's actually going to be hard to move.
Yeah, I think that's why we will see something change. Whether it's whether they bring back these packs, or like you say, you might be able to put some points up. Because in all honesty, if you've got no welcome back packs and you've got no chance of coins or points, it's a bit redundant even releasing the web app and the companion app early, because like you say, if you can't move, you can't buy cards, you can't buy packs, you can't open anything, you can't fill in the objectives of the SBCs, and it's just a bit pointless, and you'd expect them just to wait and just release it all at one, or apart from the potential server issues that doing that might bring. So yeah, I wouldn't say that they're not going to allow you either to load up on points or give you some packs. It wouldn't really make much sense.
Yeah, it remains to be seen. But look, a nice little suite of rewards as well for anybody who becomes a founder as well. They're talking about you'll get a special bespoke loading screen. Another big thing as well is you'll get a special founders evolution slot. And we can talk about evolutions a little bit here, Nate, just because it flows. That you'll get a special bonus evolution slot for being a founder as well. And they're saying that evolutions this year are going to be split into three main categories. There'll be gameplay related ones, utility related ones, and cosmetic related ones. I think cosmetic fairly speaks for itself. Gameplay, Nathan, is going to be more, your overall boosts, your specific stat boosts, and utility might be things like work rates and positioning. But from what you've seen so far on evolutions, is it something that excites you? Have you had enough clarity on it, or is it going to be a wait and see?
I'm kind of in between, to be honest. I love the concept. I like the fact that you'll be able to have your own player and you can tweak it to how you either like to play, what suits your team. I'm a big believer in certain work rates for certain positions, so that could be really exciting. However, John, our boss man, he's kind of said that he's unsure because he doesn't really want to be using an 81 rated striker anytime past season 1. So it depends on how they do this, because I understand where he's going from. As you get more into the game or into even like these promos, you'll be getting, say, even at the end of the first couple of promos, you'll have 85 rated strikers that are still pretty decent. So you don't want to be playing with an 80 or an 81 rated striker when you can have these cheapish 85. So if they execute it well and execute it how I hope they execute it, I think this is going to be incredible. Especially because you can do a few. Unfortunately for my sins, I'm a United fan and we are doing terribly this season. However, we've got some really exciting young players. So we've got the likes of Garnacho, Kobe Mino, and Højlund. So if I could take those three players and develop them and make them, sort of starter type players, I would love that, because it's a bit more personal to me. However, if they just mean that you can only barely upgrade them and it takes you ages to do it, lots of objectives and not really worthwhile in terms of the scale, I'd be less inclined to kind of get myself involved in that. But what about you, Dan? Because I know your team's pretty bad like mine.
I don't think it's even fair to put Man United and Reading in the same paragraph on the same page, even in the same show. But no, look, yeah, I mean, from my point of view, Reading aren't going to have any players above, I don't know, maybe 70 if we're lucky. I've not actually looked at the database yet, but. Yeah, the chance to have some of them being usable in those opening weeks would be really good. Like you say, the devil's in the detail, the kind of boost they'll get. If I can turn a 70 rated player into an 83 rated player, fantastic. If I can have Charlie Savage, for example, running around in my midfield, absolutely fantastic. Great. I quite like on the cosmetic thing, they were talking about being able to sort of recognize things like your club legends. So I'm hopeful there might be something like a club captain slot evolution where it's just, you can put a particular player that you play all the time in that slot, and they're talking about them getting kind of cosmetic upgrades and sort of marking your cards. So for someone like, I had ones to watch Renato Sanchez last year, and he played, I think I pulled him in like week 3, and I think he played through to basically team of the season, had like 1,000 games on. If there's a way you can just stick a player in that slot and just slowly, really mark him up as your club legend. I quite like things like that. Just little nods in the screen when you log on. So, yeah. Again, I'm going to have to wait to see what the detail is, though, in terms of the actual usefulness of the players you can evolve.
The card design is delightful, though. I have to say, I am in love with the Evolutions card design. And, being a Glazer out, green and gold, it goes well for us as well. But I just think that is one of the best looking card designs I think I've seen. I think that's absolutely stunning. And I'm not one of these guys that harps on about card designs at all, because I'd rather just focus on the players. But I think it looks lovely.
Oh, no, look, screens we stare at for hours and hours and days on end. So if they look nice, that's all for the better. So that covers evolutions. We talked about XP and objectives and modes and things like that. The other big thing that they've announced is a shift in how they're going to be handing out rewards and the style of certain gameplay modes. Let's start with Foot Champs, Nath. The big talking point for most people is that red picks are not totally gone, but they're pretty much on the way out. EA have recognised the fact that red picks, as we know them, especially for most of the season, were getting outstripped. How often, did we talk about in previous shows of how many usable red picks have you got? And they've recognised this. They're now going to tailor FUT Champs rewards. They're going to be not just things like Team of the Week. They'll be, in their words, at a level that matches the current state of the game. So we saw this a little bit in FIFA 23. At the moment, of course, things like red picks had things like, they weren't red picks, they were like shapeshifters or 92 plus team of the season, weren't they? During team of the season, though, we did have red picks, but they were team of the season red picks. So this is what it sounds like it's going to be going forward. So it might be a case of, instead of getting 2 red picks from team of the week, you'll get 2 85 pluses for certain ranks, and another rank might get 3 or 4. Maybe it's even campaign players. They haven't, again, been explicit in that. But the other thing as well is that they're saying that for those finishing rank 2 and above, so that's those of you who I think 17, 18 wins for rank 2.
Yeah.
So for 17 wins plus, they're going to boost those those rewards as well. They've recognised the fact that people weren't being adequately rewarded for going that extra mile. I think lots of streamers were talking about this as well. What was the real point in trying to go 20-0 when the rewards for 20 wins were not much better than 16 wins. So nice to see for that. I don't think anybody will really begrudge those people at the very top end of the game getting rewarded more. But what are your thoughts on those changes to red picks and those boosted rewards?
So as somebody that doesn't play champs, I'm quite disappointed in that. It's, you see, if during team of the season, they opened like FUT Champs from, was it Friday or Saturday Friday night through to sort of Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah. If they did that, I would be all for it. But, there's a lot of people that play FIFA or EAFC, and weekends, especially if you've got family weekends, are traditionally like your busy time. So I think it's good to reward those in terms of the rankage. If you get better ranks, you should be able to get better picks. But I do think it kind of eliminates people, and it might drive more of a gap between those that, unfortunately, for whatever reason, don't have time to play on a Saturday or a Sunday or whatever. If they opened it up and you could play kind of a few games here and there and go sort of almost through the week, or, they should just, even if they open FUT Champs and just say, right, you can play 1 entry per week and just open it up, which they're never going to do. But I do think you're alienating that sort of part of the player base that can't fulfill like a champs schedule, if you like.
Are you sort of worried that the rewards might be almost too good for those that are playing FUT Champs at any level, and that those that can't play are going to get left behind?
Yeah, absolutely. And in turn, thinking, well, that means that they might be trying to get people to spend more on points to try and catch a team up. And, I don't want to spend lots on points. I don't want to, miss out time with the family either, because that's obviously very important. So if, they have, obviously, we might touch on the sort of squad battles and seasons rewards. If those are good and you can have decent rewards through other avenues, then that's fine. But I do think that's going to make a massive gap, especially if these are juiced picks, because we don't know how they're going to tailor these picks. It could be 85 plus, and the majority of them could be just gold 85s. And if that's fine, then if that's it, then fine. But if they super juice it and they're all 85 plus, but everyone's pulling like a gold Mbappe or a say a Centurions Ibra from this year that was such a standout player from that promo, I think it'll be detrimental to those that can't do it, or, some that aren't at the level. I'd rather you be fair-ish. And like I say, if you go in 17, 18, 19, 20 even in champs, then 100% they deserve good rewards. And, chances are if they play me with a bronze team, then they'll beat me as anyway. Do you know what I mean? But I just think it needs to be a little bit more fair across, because if they're not opening it up and it's only weekends, then I think it's a little bit restrictive, say.
Yeah, I absolutely take the point. It's tricky because I do think that those people that invest their extra time in the game and perform at a certain level should get rewarded appropriately. But I think the balance might come from the tweaks they're making to rivals, Nath, because as well as boosting rewards for rank 2 and above in FUT Champs, they're planning to boost rewards for those people in Div 2, Div 1 and Elite as well. And that includes, the red pick that people in Elite got will also be tweaked in the same kind of style for those in FUT Champs as well. So I think one of the big complaints that we saw a lot in FIFA 23, especially, tied into that skill-based matchmaking that you talked about for cup competitions, was it didn't really pay off especially to being sat in Div 2 and Div 1. At least in Elite, you did get that red pick. It was mostly terrible, but at least you had it. But if you sat in Div 2, Div 1, all you were doing is you were having to play some really tough games. And look, if you are a competitive person and that's why you're playing this game, great. I'm sure that, ticks the box for a lot of people. And I mean this genuinely fantastic for you. But for a lot of people, it was like, it's taking me a long time to get these 8 wins in Division 1. I'm sweating. I'm struggling to actually get these wins in. If I was just in Div 3, Div 4, Div 5, I can get them easily. And I also get easier cup games. So therefore, I can get the objectives and the packs from cup games easier. So it actually just makes my life so much better. And they've always, the argument has always come from different streamers and different parts of the community. Our own Discord has been incentivize people to want to be in those top divisions. And again, hopefully they're going to boost these rewards enough. So for people like you might say, okay, well, I can't play champs this week, but look how great the rewards are in Elite. I'm going to, I've got time over the other 5 days of the week to play lots of rivals. I'm going to do my best to get into Elite and get some equally good rewards.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a good thing. And to be honest, the fact they're making it from Div 2, they're sort of tweaking the Div 2, Div 1, because we've all been there, and we're both sort of, I'd say comfortably elite players, but I say comfortably, we make elite every season just about anyway. There might be the odd one that you don't, but we're fairly sort of steady in that. But we all know that, rank 2 is quite hard at the moment to get out of. And then you get to rank 1 and it's almost like some of the better players are, like you say, sandbagging, but then moving up slowly. So it means with, the actual end of season rewards, we can get those extra packs. So the extra rewards, they then go in the last week or two. So I like the fact it goes from Division 2 upwards, because it kind of does make that reward. Well, hopefully makes it more rewarding in their words. So I do like that. And I think that's my usual kind of, I usually hit rivals in some of the objectives anyway, so I'm a big fan of that. But like you say, will it match up with what you get in champs? Who knows? And maybe, if I was somebody like yourself that could play champs weekly or even bi-weekly, I'd be a lot more for it. I think it's more just my own personal circumstances. But for those that do play champs, I think it's an incredible addition.
Yeah, it's a tough one. I always think every mode should be as accessible as possible. I think playoffs was a step in the right direction for that, because it obviously allowed you to play at any point. But yeah, I mean, FUT Champs, I don't see any reason why it's not expanded to at least the end of Monday. EA will have their own reasons for that, and it might be to do with promo releases and things like that. So I'll have to leave it to them. But yeah, look, I'm really hoping these rivals boosts are appropriate, because it will help everybody, because it will make sure that players, we talk openly about people that sandbag. I did it a little bit myself with my second account. I would chuck a couple of games to avoid going up towards the end of the game cycle. That shouldn't be the attitude anybody has. And hopefully, if you get those better rewards, then it will stop that, and everyone will start to get towards the right level. It will make the experience much better for those players who genuinely are maybe not as strong, and they will mean Div 5, Div 4 is a lot more open for them, instead of every sort of 3 or 4 games running into this ridiculous monster level player who's just down there because, he wants an easy life. So it's horses for courses. It's good on paper, but it remains to be seen. Again, the devil with everything. That's going to be my phrase of the week. Devil is in the detail. I'll probably name this show that. The other one, unanimous change, I think we can all agree is great. We've talked about this in previous shows as well. Squad battles have had a big tweak. 4-minute halves. In EA's own words, they realised that players were spending more time just sitting out games and waiting for games to finish, rather than actually enjoying them. So 4-minute halves is a great thing. They're also reducing the number of games that count towards your rank from 40 down to 32. So again, should make it a lot easier for those people who maybe are intimidated by things like FUT Champs and like offline play to be able to get decent rewards and take a lot less time to do so. But any thoughts on the squad battles front, Nath?
Yeah, I like that. I mean, I do actively do squad battles, mainly through the year. I do it for the Silver Beasts objectives, if they bring that back. Sometimes, especially when you're in the elite division, it's a lot more preferable to do that for your normal objectives, where you've got to play with 6 Italian players that wouldn't get anywhere near your actual team. So rather than being like a lamb to slaughter, I go to squad battles and do that. So yeah, I like that. And they said they're trying, I think, to quote them, they're saying their aims to increase the amount of time you actively spend playing the game versus playing out the clock, as well as improving the reward balance between offline and online. So I like that. And to be honest, I don't know many people that solely play Squad battles, I know it's... Oh, my Alexa's just kicked off, sorry. Wow. So yeah, no, I think it's a very good addition, and I'm just going to unplug my Alexa.
I don't know that.
There we go. Sorry. So yeah, no,
she'll demand an appearance fee now for that, Nath.
She
have
would
to pay a third member of the show.
Absolutely. We'll get John on it. We maybe get a sponsorship between them now we've mentioned it.
Bing and other AIs are furious.
ChatGPT all the way.
Siri fuming.
Oh, don't shout that because my phone will go off too now. But no, squad battles, great change. I think it's better. I think everybody knows that a lot of it's rubber banded. I did like the change this year that they brought in that everything could be done on semi-pro. I think before it used to have to be pro or world class. So it was a good thing to have on, in the background. You could do that and just play out. So yeah, I think that's another step forward from EA. So I'll kind of admit that's kudos to them.
Yep, very much agree. And that kind of moves us in and talking about rewards. We kind of talked about the changes to red picks. Also going to change team of the week. Now, we've all begrudged the fact that team of the week contains players that have just been unusable right from day one. What's the point in a 75 rated team of the week unless you support that particular team, maybe. They've recognized this, and EA have changed it now that all team of the weeks will be 80 plus. They've promised to give certain players bigger boosts when needed. And they were also saying that they're going to upgrade certain traits and features over the year. So, weak foot, skill move upgrades, maybe new play styles, and that these enhancements will carry over. So if you had a particular week where, I don't know, they gave Marcus Rashford a boosted weak foot, gave him like a 4-star weak foot instead of 3, that will then carry over into his next team of the week version as well. So I think all of those are good. I think we've all, team of the week was the phrase we talked about almost every week when we were reviewing those. So again, I can't really see any negatives so far in the changes they've announced.
No, absolutely. It's been needing a bit of a revamp for a long time. The only thing is the selection, we've not had it officially announced, but that they were certainly not picking, specific players that either had too many team of the weeks already, or, if how many times do you see Mbappe, Messi, and Ronaldo say if they all had incredible games, you never saw them in the same team of the week, or So if they do it again, devil in a detail, I'll steal your phrase, but it's only a positive that they're kind of tweaking it, making it probably more appropriate, more usable, and I think that's going to be the theme for the whole of FC24 is the fact that we should have a wide variety of usable players now, and I think this only kind of adds and helps to that.
Yeah, and John, head of footcoaching.com, of course, head to footcoaching.com for all of your coaching needs. If you're looking to get into the groove for the new game when it releases, sign yourself up, get fantastic coaching for players like Nath using the latest tools that are used by real world football clubs in a lot of cases. So please head over to footcoaching.com for all that information. But John has said, do you think Team of the Week might be better now, especially because they're not going to be in those rewards for Foot Champs? He thinks that was one of the big reasons why we did get so many unusable players in Team of the Week, was because obviously that it was such a narrow pool for players you were going to get in your red picks. They had to kind of pad it out to increase the odds. So he thinks that's good as well. He also weighs in on the red picks, Nathan, kind of touching on what you said. But reds are useless most of the time anyways, and getting high finish and low rewards is demoralizing. For people stating these players will be rewarded extra, don't worry, with the new competitive format and separate divisions, I'm not sure the really good players are going to be facing you in rivals. And if matchmaking works correctly, you'll only have a chance of facing them on Friday. So I think what John's saying there, Nath, is that don't worry if you're missing out on these boosted rewards because you can't play champs. That you'll naturally find that those players advance higher quicker, so you won't actually face them.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we say, again, detail, but if it's executed right, it's probably not a big deal at all. And I probably sounded a bit negative to begin with, and I obviously don't mean to come across negative. It's more personal experience. You never know how it's going to be executed and how it's going to be done. It's got lots of potential. I think the whole game's got a lot of potential. I'm really excited for 24 as a being, as an entity. But again, if EAA execute it how it looks like they're going to do, it's just going to be tremendous. But if they kind of set on things or if they hold things back, that's the only sort of negative side. But yeah, I think if the good players have it, then they're going to beat us anyway, or you'll not get to match with them either. So yeah, it should be fine. It should be fine.
Well, look, let's just round off the last couple of bits from the pitch notes. They talk about esports. We all know that the habit of opening up your iPad, sticking up the tab on Twitch, and just sitting there waiting for your token to arrive. I think they've kind of realised this. They have now saying that rewards are going to be based on time watched. So where that means your tab's going to be open for even longer. And also, it's not going to be a case of you watching and getting a swap token. They're changing it now, so it will be objectives. So it's not that you have to sit, these blue tokens in your club. You'll just get objectives, tick that off as well. I mean, going back to John's thoughts as well, he says the esports section is still bonkers. The format is silly, and all the pitch notes talk about is viewership, and and the fact you get rewards by tuning in, not why you should be tuning in. It's sad to see the whole esport approach this year. I think I've got to echo it, Nath. I can absolutely understand why EA do this. They want to be able to point to the fact that people are engaging with the product. They are watching so many hours. That's what you can sell it to sponsors on. But we've all seen it. How you go into one of these esports shows, Nathan, all you see is token in the chat. And like I say, most of us will just minimize it. They should be really hyping it up of here's why you should watch. But alas,
100%. And to be honest, like through foot coaching, we've been involved in some of it. It's been mainly sort of the co-op stuff, but esports is tremendous. Like some of the stuff these guys can do is unreal. Like in terms of how quickly they think, how quickly they execute moves, and they already think sort of 3, 4, 5 moves ahead, whereas most people go 1 or 2 ahead. So watching these games is actually fascinating, and I watch quite a bit. Some of the pros or the top end streamers, not just like the pack openers, but the guys that can actually stream and play really well. Like I actually find it quite interesting to watch, just to see what they're doing and how you can develop and what lessons you can take. So it is a bit disappointing, but it kind of does show you exactly what, like you say, what EA are looking for. Like they are wanting this to be we've got X amount watching us. They could maybe learn from some of the other esports, or not even sports, but sort of pro video gaming events, if you like, where it's a masterpiece. Some of the events they put on is absolutely tremendous, and FIFA's huge, or football in general is huge, and EAFC is going to be massive. So hopefully in the future they'll kind of wake up and realize that this could be incredible.
Yeah, fingers crossed. And the other thing that they have changed is EA Play membership. Now, you used to get an XP boost at the start of the season. However, that has now been replaced. You're now going to get a draft token every month instead for your EA Play membership. So, again, a bit disappointing because getting that XP boost, since they've changed the rewards format, Nate, was quite handy. Got you to like level 4 or 5 almost instantly. But, draft token might be handy.
Yes and no. Again, it's making me more contemplate whether I need to be part of EA Play anymore, because the XP was like basically the reason that I did it. I ordered the Ultimate Team, so I don't need the early access trial type thing. So it doesn't. This is one of the things that I will say, again, it's probably not as beneficial, I think, unless you have to play X amount of drafts each month in the objectives, which you might well do, but it's not going to equate to the 3,000 XP points or whatever it was that we were getting first, and you could jump from 0 to level 4 within turn on your machine, basically. Yeah,
agreed. It's a shame. I mean, I get my EA Play. I've got Game Pass. I think EA Play is rolled into that. But otherwise, I'd be seriously thinking, well, why am I paying? What is it, $5 a month? I think
something like that. Yeah,
for essentially a draft token. So, but look, I mean, I'll stack them up, and just even if you go into just go and play like an offline draft, you'll get a few decent packs at the end for winning that. So, look, I think that wraps up just about all the big things to do with the pitch notes. Is there anything else you've seen sort of FC24 related that you wanted to bring up before we saddle off?
No, not really. Although, some points of this I haven't agreed with, but I'm so excited for this. And I think this could be, if it's all executed well, like we've said all the way through this sort of pitch note look at, if things are executed well, and I'm including the women in the football, the women in FIFA, if that's executed well, I think this is going to be mad. I think this could be incredible. I think it could be a real varied game as well in terms of the modes that you play, the style that you play, the players that you use. I just think, every day we get closer, the more and more exciting I'm getting for it.
Yeah, I cannot wait to dig in. As I said, I'm hoping that that we'll have enough tools to be able to sort of have some fun on the companion app and the web app earlier in the week. And then just getting into games, the show I did with Chris last week, I know you and Shaq were talking about it on Friday as well. That really ignited, seeing these player ratings and sort of digging in and building squads and thinking about this, and then thinking about, who do I put my evolution slots? It does seem like there's going to be an awful lot for us to do right from day one. Some of that might be a little bit intimidating in terms of, I don't know where to spend my time. But the fact we've got this whole 7 days, if you are, fortunate enough to be in the position to have the Ultimate Edition, and of course EA Play as well, you do get that 10 hours free. So that might be an alternative if you can't afford that extra, £30 difference. If you want to have those 10 hours, and you can get a lot done in those 10 hours as well. It might be a way of doing that for you. And I think if you Google it, there's lots of different ways and incentives and trials and stuff you can get a VA Play as well. So worth digging into those as well. But yeah, really excited. I think from the pitch notes, everything seems reasonably positive. There's a couple of little things like we mentioned, the EA Play thing and the welcome back packs that might not be good, and the devil's in the details for a lot of these different bits and pieces. But yeah, roll on EAFC24, EAFC24, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, absolutely not. It can only be exciting, and they might have left out some things that they are introducing as well. So we'll wait and see. We've only recording. We've only got Friday, so what, four full days left now or something.
Yeah.
So so good luck to everyone. Hopefully we all enjoy it, and hopefully for the year ahead we're only talking very, very positive things.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, and if you're looking to help support this show, we mentioned it at the top, patreon.com/foot in review. Right now, you can sign up absolutely free and get a 7-day trial for all levels except for Skybox holders. And you can experience, you can have a poke around and see the other things we do. I've got a trading show with myself and Shack Attack. I'm going to be recording that on Tuesday as we sit here on the Monday. So really looking forward to getting to that with Shack, giving some advice as to the first kind of moves you make, how to make coins early, some of the pitfalls to avoid. So I'm looking to dig into that. We're going to have tactics videos, all sorts of tutorials and bits and pieces going up on that. So do encourage people, if you've been on the fence, why not take advantage of that 7-day trial, or just jump in, both feet and commit and help support the show. Every penny you give to us is greatly appreciated. We realize times are very tough. And if you can't do that, just leaving things like a review, following us on our socials at Foot Coaching, giving us our videos a like on TikTok, Instagram, and all that bits. It all very much helps. It boosts our reach and helps us reach a few extra people. So thank you very much to all of you for doing so. And again, especially to those who join us our Patreon. Nathan, where can people find you on social media?
I'm Twitter at NJ Downs, and I'm Nathan Downs. Oh no, I'm NJ Downs again in our Discord. Sorry, I changed that recently.
Yep, I'm at Wimby on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it these days. Wimby86 is probably your best bet for FIFA talk. I do occasionally stream as well at twitch.tv/Wimby86, and you can find me, Wimby, on the Discord. But one last thing to do, Nath.
Drop it.
We are going to drop it.
Drop it.
F-U.
T.
F-U.
T.
F-F-F-U.
T.
F-U. T.
T.
T. Interview.